Happy Tuesday afternoon, Crypto News Alerts fam. We have a lot to cover today. In today's show, Bitcoin hits a new 9-month high above $28,000 as the markets flip-flop over the FOMC. In breaking news just in, a new Texas Bitcoin bill has been introduced. Quoting it here, shall note by this resolution that the Bitcoin economy is welcome in Texas. Citizens shall always feel free and safe in their ownership and use of Bitcoin in the state of Texas. Let's go. We'll also be discussing the U.S. exploring ways to guarantee the country's $18 trillion of bank deposits. I'll be breaking down this latest report, as well as no CBDC in Florida, says their governor, DeSantis. That's right, Florida's Republican leader is emphatically opposed to the state surveillance threat posed by CBDCs. And quoting Congressman Tom Emmer, the very ethos of CBDCs is everything that Bitcoin and America stand against. Touche. We'll also be discussing the Fed blowing up the financial system, as per Strike's CEO, Jack Mallers, who was recently interviewed. Quoting him here, there are only two things I can guarantee in this world. Nobody can live forever, and nobody can create more than 21 million Bitcoin. For everything else, there will always be more supply given enough demand. That's why the only two things I truly value are my life and my Bitcoin. Very powerful words. Also in today's show, the former Coinbase CTO doubles down on his $1 million massive Bitcoin price prediction and compares the US dollar to the collapsed World War I currency. We'll also be discussing macro guru Raoul Pal updates his outlook on Bitcoin and predicts Bitcoin to reach $50,000 within the next year, and also says that six figures, including $250,000, is inevitable. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. And welcome everyone. Today's episode is brought to you by the top crypto exchange in the world, which is Binance. I prefer them because they offer zero trading fees on the top related Bitcoin and Ethereum pairs, truly making it a no-brainer. And if you use my referral link in the description below, you can claim your bonus of up to $600. And if you're a Binance US user, be sure to use the Binance US user link, and you can also get hooked up with some bonuses and incentives as well. And let's get this crypto, shall we? And welcome everyone just tuning in. This is podcast episode number 1227. I'm your host JV, and today we're live at 4 p.m., which is a different time slot, and I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Let's kick off today's show, checking out the market. We have everything pumping, which I love to see. Bitcoin up 1% for the day and maintaining above $28,000 support. XRP looks like the biggest gainer, up 26%, now trading at roughly 47 cents. You also have Ether up 2%, trading under $1,800, and Binance Coin up about 0.5%, trading at $333. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we can see the crypto market cap fast approaching the $1.2 trillion mark with about 67 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance on the rise at 46.2%, with the Ether dominance at 18.6%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, XRP leading the pack, up now 27%, trading at roughly 48 cents, followed by Magic, up 14%, trading just under $2, followed by Stellar Lumens, which is actually a fork off the XRP network, trading at 11% high for the day, trading at just under 10 cents. And with that being shared, checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, XRP is also leading that pack, up 25%, Hex is up 13%, and XLM up 9.6%, along with Magic up 13.7%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, now the highest this has been in a very long time at a 68 in greed. Yesterday was a 66, last week a 56, and last month a 60. So there you have it, and welcome again to everyone just tuning in at today's special time slot for Crypto News Alerts. Now let's actually dive into today's technical analysis and check out some of the charts and what's happened with this price action. Bitcoin headed to a new 9-month high after the March 21st Wall Street Open as the Fed interest rate decision loomed. And right here, looking at a very bullish 1-hour candle chart. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Point Trading View showed Bitcoin approaching 28.5 on Bitstamp. Let's go. The latest in a succession of multi-month highs. The latest Bitcoin price action precedes what promised to be a volatile day for the markets. The Fed will announce how far, if at all, it will hike its baseline interest rate on March 22nd, which is tomorrow, with the pause of the hiking cycle seen as a boon in waiting for risk assets. Heavily interested to see the outcome tomorrow, said crypto analyst Mikhail Pop, and also shared this update. Potential sweep into the highs. Closing the CME gap, trapping everyone and creating bearish divergences is an ideal concept. Key zone $28,700. send it. And Bitcoin nonetheless produced interesting moves on the day, with the dollar gains coming alongside volatility and the overall crypto market cap dominance. As pointed out right here, altcoins are bleeding while Bitcoin is still consolidating around the highs, warned Van de Poppe. Money rotating from altcoins towards Bitcoin amid fears for tomorrow's FOMC meeting. I'd stay relatively calm on positions as well. Obvious opportunities will arise, as they always do. Now, the subsequent come down after the Wall Street Open was described by popular crypto trader Crypto Tony as an interesting dump on Bitcoin dominance, creating a spike in altcoins, and a mixed signal reflected market ideas from the FOMC meeting. And according to the CME Group's FedWatch tool, the majority now foresaw a 25 basis point rate hike, in contrast to the pause favored previously. And analyzing the trader behavior, on-chain monitoring resource Material Indicators revealed a blanket buying on the largest global exchange, Binance. The snapshot of the Bitcoin order book showed both large volume and small volumes increasing exposure pre-FOMC. That's right, 28.5 and 29,000 formed the strongest resistance levels at this time, while the nearest significant support was further from the spot price at 27,000. So those are the spots to keep your eyes out on. And big breaking news for the state of Texas. New Texas Bitcoin bill was introduced, which says, shall know by this resolution that the Bitcoin economy is welcome in Texas, and citizens shall always feel free and safe in their ownership and use of Bitcoin. In the state of Texas, and I hope many other states in the United States are to follow suit as the Bitcoin game theory continues in full effect. Now, with that being shared, now let's break down this 18 trillion, which is kind of insane to even say this number. U.S. officials are reportedly studying ways to expand the current scope of deposit insurance that would guarantee that all U.S. bank deposits should be current banking crisis if it was to worsen. The current deposit insurance cap under the FDIC stands at $250,000. However, following the collapse of several banks in March, there have been calls to increase that amount. That's because the fear is widespread and they're trying to do everything to prevent these bank runs. Organizations such as the Mid-Sized Bank Coalition of America called on March 18th for the cap to be lifted for the next 2 years, citing a need to protect depositors and to stop capital being pulled from the smaller banks for supposedly safer-looking heavyweights like Bitcoin, the safest. And according to a March 21st Bloomberg report citing people with knowledge of the talks, the Treasury Department staff members are currently discussing the possibility of the FDIC being able to expand the current deposit insurance beyond the max cap to cover all deposits. And according to the FDIC, domestic U.S. bank deposits totaled $17.7 trillion as of December 31st. So the million-dollar question, how are they going to print $17 trillion worth of money to protect everyone? I don't believe them whatsoever, but anyways, the move would ultimately hinge on what level of emergency authority federal regulators have and if the insurance cap can be increased without formal consent from Congress. Bloomberg's sources indicated, however, that U.S. authorities don't deem such a drastic move necessary at the moment. At recent steps taken by financial regulators are likely to be sufficient. We shall soon see. And as such, they stated that a potential strategy is being whipped up just in case the current situation gets worse. Quoting Tim.com, the U.S. government says it studies ways to guarantee all bank deposits if the banking crisis grows. They say that because they know that the banking crisis will grow. Yeah, seems like it. They don't have the $18 trillion required to protect depositors. Well, of course not. Run on the bank while you can. Gold, silver, crypto, touche. In a response to Silvergate, Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank going bust in recent weeks, the Fed rolled out the $25 billion bank term funding program on March 13th as the government pushed to stem any further contagion. Good luck to them. Meanwhile, in March 20th, at the press briefing, the White House press secretary was specifically asked if the federal government was supportive of a push from small and mid-sized banks to expand FDIC insurance beyond $250,000. But Jean-Pierre was tight-lipped on the Biden administration's view, saying that our goal is to ensure that the financial system is stable, and emphasizing that creating a fair playing field was the focus of the Treasury as well as the bank regulators. Quoting her again, as you saw, due to our actions this week as the direction of the president, Americans should be confident of their deposits. We'll be there when they're there, we'll be there when they and when they need them. I don't sound so confident in what they had to share, and they didn't even seem confident. I saw Janet Yellen trying to say the same BS, and so on. Again, what our focus is going to be, we don't have any new announcements at this time, but clearly we want to make sure that our financial system is stable. Well, I'm going to ask the $1 million question in the chat. How many of you believe this nonsense that the U.S. banking system and their money is stable? I don't buy into it for a second. You know what I mean? Which leads us to our next story of the day. Let's discuss CBDCs not taking part in Florida as per their governor, Ron DeSantis. And shout out to DeSantis for making a strong, opposal against them and calling them out. Does he have the power to prevent that from happening? Who knows? But nonetheless, it's something I wasn't expecting. So in a speech shared over Twitter on Monday, DeSantis recalled Biden's digital asset executive order in March 2022, which called on government agencies to explore the creation of a CBDC. Quoting him here, "It provides the government with a direct view over all consumer activities," said the governor, noting that CBDCs are different from cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. What the central bank digital currency is all about is surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. He continued, and he's right. And while crypto networks like Bitcoin are technically not private, all transactions are visible on the public blockchain, they're still anonymous. Anyone across the world is free to access the network without needing to identify themselves or their wallets. And by contrast, the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell had previously claimed that a potential CBDC would be the inverse of that. All network users would be identified and vetted, but their transaction history would remain private. Nonetheless, DeSantis likened the potential CBDC to the China's digital yuan, where the People's Bank of China surveils spending habits and can cut off access to goods and services. He also cited Nigeria as a cautionary tale, where the central bank has capped ATM withdrawals to boost the adoption of its e-Naira, which triggered riots just last month. That's right. Now, the governor fears that if such a currency took hold in the U.S., that the government can use it to censor transactions that they disapprove of, such as firearms and gasoline and Bitcoin. You're opening up a major can of worms and handing a central bank huge amounts of power. He continued, DeSantis is hardly the first to speak against CBDCs. We also have Congressman Tom Emmer, who introduced a bill last month to ban the Federal Reserve from issuing a CBDC to consumers, citing similar criticisms surrounding surveillance. Senator Ted Cruz also introduced a similar bill March of last year to ensure that the government doesn't centralize and control cryptocurrency. Now, besides CBDCs, DeSantis also criticized the Fed's choice to bail out Silicon Valley Bank depositors. The move applied to deposits beyond the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, standard $250,000 limit, which was criticized by many European regulators. The governor believes the move was a demonstration of the Fed's willingness to break the rules when implementing a CBDC. They will use that in ways that benefit their agenda, he argued. And he also touched on the Fed's new bank term funding program, which has been used to inject $300 billion back into the economy within a week of SVB's collapse. DeSantis noted that the move had wiped out half of the progress made by the Fed in reducing the money supply throughout the past year in order to tame inflation. Are you interested in giving these economic central planners more power over your economy? No, we cannot have that happening, he said. So again, shout out to DeSantis and Tom Emmer and everyone opposed and standing against the evil of the CBDCs, which takes us to our next story of the day. If you missed this interview, Jack Mallers was on fire. This was actually on TV, and he lit a fire on everyone's butt. So I'm going to share this. Strike CEO Jack Mallers believes Bitcoin is primed to pump following the Fed's $300 billion injection into the banking sector last week. And he also predicts that the U.S. dollar is entering a new era of persistently high inflation, which will only benefit Bitcoin. That's right. Speaking with CNBC's co-anchor Kelly Evans asked the CEO why people should expect Bitcoin to moonshot following a banking crisis, the likes of which have historically been deflationary periods. She cited former Coinbase CTO Balaji, who predicted last week that the dollar would hyperinflate and send the Bitcoin price to $1 million within the next 90 days. Now, Mallers' argument was pretty simple. Bitcoin is a fixed supply money, whereas the dollar is not, meaning Bitcoin will appreciate against dollars as more of the latter enters circulation. Money printer go brr. He said, the only thing that's clear to us and clear to our customers is that you cannot hold and save in dollars anymore. Ain't telling no lies. Now the Fed backstopped banks with $300 billion as a part of the new bank term funding program last week, erasing half the progress it already made, shrinking its balance sheet over the past year. And the central bank has been attempting to quell persistently high inflation, which reached a high of 9.1% in June, back to its target 2% rate. And though inflation remains hot at 6%, probably way higher than that, obviously, right? Markets have already shortened their time frame on when they expect the Fed to start cutting rates from quarter 1 2024 to June of 2023. And according to Mahler's, inflation within a 5 to 10% range will now be normalized. Quoting him here, they had to backstop these things with new money, he continued, referring to banks struggling in the wake of Silicon Valley Bank's collapse. You're seeing scarce assets and risk on assets actually be big winners here. And also we have the BitMEX co-founder Arthur Hayes, who published a blog post last Thursday offering similar predictions, stating that the Fed's new program will usher in infinite money printing. And you already know, with number go up technology and Bitcoin, bring it. And besides Hayes and Mahler's, on-chain analytics firm Glassnode noted that the key on-chain indicators that Bitcoin has returned to the early bull market territory, with over 122,000 new Bitcoin entities which were created each day last week, an amount greater than 90% of the days in Bitcoin's history. Meanwhile, transactions reached a total of 309,500 per day, a sign that investor activity is increasing. Quoting Glassnode, few longer-term investors appear to be motivated to take profits into this rally, signaling a remarkable strength and a reflection of the beliefs held about Bitcoin's important role in the future of the global financial system. So there you have it. And quoting Jack Mallers, and if you didn't see this video interview, I'll include it in the show notes below the video in the description, because once again, it's fire. But quoting him here, there are only two things I can guarantee in this world. Number one, nobody can live forever. And number two, nobody can create more than 21 million Bitcoin. For everything else, there will always be more supply given enough demand. That's why the only two things I truly value are my life and my Bitcoin. Say it out loud, brother. I love that. One of my favorite new quotes. And with that being shared, now let's break down this $1 million 90-day prediction and the latest updates surrounding it. And then we'll dive into the latest outlook from the macro guru Raoul Pal, along with his six-figure Bitcoin price prediction. Then we'll dive into some live Q&A. Former Coinbase executive Balaji is making a seriously bold Bitcoin prediction based on his belief that the US dollar could follow in the footsteps of a fiat currency that collapsed about 100 years ago. That's right. Last week, he caught the attention of crypto traders after placing $1 million bet that Bitcoin would skyrocket to $1 million in just 90 days. Now, the former Coinbase chief executive officer is doubling down on his extremely bullish stance as he tells his almost 900,000 Twitter followers that the US dollar can soon mirror the state of Weimar, Germany, marking the following of the defeat of Germany in World War I. Quoting him here, imagine this graph. But in fast forward, that's what happens when people exit a failing fiat currency and enter gold. In this case, they'll exit the dollar and enter digital gold, aka Bitcoin. The bet isn't a way to make money, it's a way to alert innocent dollar hodlers, get to Bitcoin. That's right, get yourself some Bitcoin, especially if you don't have any already. In 1923, the Weimar marks collapsed due to a period of hyperinflation, which saw its value plummet against the US dollar. And during that time, $1 was equal to 1 trillion marks. Whoa. Now, he also is blaming the Fed for the current banking crisis that led to the collapse of SVB, Signature Bank, and Silvergate. And according to the angel investor, the Fed sold U.S. treasuries to banks and then raised interest rates at a historic pace, a move that negatively impacted the value of the bonds. Quoting him again, many people tried to pin SVB on tech scapegoats as if your business checking account bankrupt a $200 million bank. The Fed was, of course, the culprit. Sell bonds to everyone, promptly devalue them, cover up the subsequent insolvency, and deny responsibility. And according to him, the world will witness massive changes this year, catalyzed by the devaluation of the dollar. Quoting him again, this year may be one for the books. The devaluation of the dollar, the rise of Bitcoin, the global flippening to the east. Even for someone who was thinking about these trends, the pace of change will feel shockingly, disorientingly fast. It reminds me a bit of the early 1900s. In 1910, if you still had 9 royals meeting, the old world of princess was still around and seemingly immortal, but under the surface, technology had changed everything, and the 20th century roared into existence just a few years later. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding his bullish $1 million Bitcoin price prediction by June 17th? Do you feel there is a probability? And as Nipsey the mascot is shaking his tail. Let us know in the comments right down below. And now let's dive into the latest from the macro guru, Raoul Pal, before we dive into some live Q&A. Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal is updating his outlook on Bitcoin after a massive rally amid U.S. banking failures. In a new YouTube interview he did with Pompliano, Powell predicts that Bitcoin could increase by nearly 80% in under a year. Powell expects Bitcoin price to rise as high as $50,000, in part from short selling squeezes as people wrongly bet on the king crypto declining in value. Take that, bears. A short squeeze happens when traders who shorted an asset decide to cut their losses in response to an unexpected price bump. The squeeze subsequently fuels more rallies. Powell also disagrees with a recent prediction from the former Coinbase chief technology officer, Balaji, that Bitcoin will hit $1 million in just 90 days. Here's what he had to say. He got zero chance of being right. Wow, so he's ultimately saying there is no probability that can happen. But what he is doing is spending $1 million or $2 million on marketing. What is an important concept now, and I think that's fine. I get it. My general thesis is the market is going to be squeezier than people expect. So I think we probably get to $50,000 faster than most people expect. Is it this year? Is it within 12 months? Probably. Now, Powell says he expects Bitcoin to ultimately reach six figures, but does not suggest when. Quoting him again, over time, does it take out $100,000? Does it take it to $250,000? Well, of course it does. It's just a matter of when. And the timing part is the red herring. You know, if you've got a long enough time horizon and the trend rate of adoption and the rise in the price of the asset over time beats all the other assets, you're under no motivation to do anything else but hodl. Now, Bitcoin's performance in 2023 is looking more similar to 2013 than 2019, which saw a correction, according to Powell. He says he anticipates the banking turmoil will prompt the Fed to increase liquidity, which has historically led to a strong Bitcoin performance. Quoting him again here, Bitcoin massively outperforms in the bull market and then pulls back when the liquidity comes out of the system again, but it keeps going up. So yes, I think there is a potential setup here for Bitcoin and the whole crypto market actually to be shockingly strong, more like 2013 than 2019. 2019, we had that big correction. This time around, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we are going to see all of the central banks falling into place because there are banking issues both in Europe and the US, and China has its own issues. So that they've all got the same issue, which is debt. They're all going to have to stimulate. I think it is more likely to play out like 2013, which is very squeezy, then sideways consolidation, then very squeezy. And to watch this video he did entitled Bitcoin and the 2023 Financial Crisis along with Pompliano, check the show notes below the video in the description. And with that being shared, you can see the Bitcoin price action pumping again. Let's freaking go. Shout out to everyone here in the live chat. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to scroll to the top and give every one of you the opportunity to have your comments read out loud and answer any questions that you may have. Shout out to Barry. Shout out to Squid Hammer Metal. Says, even if the Fed is dumb and reckless enough to raise interest rates again tomorrow, I think the chaos that would stir in the banking system would cancel any dip in the Bitcoin price action. Word up. It does seem to be this way. Lawrence says, agreed with West Coast. Now we just go spread the word. I appreciate the super chat contribution coming from Lawrence Abramoff. Appreciate the love, family, as always. Yeah, much love. Lawrence says if Tim Draper is even half correct or the Coinbase CTO is 10% correct, I'm going to do something stupid to celebrate. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to come to Puerto Rico and celebrate because once we hit that $100,000 mark, which is 10% of the Coinbase CTO's prediction, guess what? That's a six-figure Bitcoin price action, and we go and celebrate and do something really fun together. You know what I mean? So keep being, I appreciate the love for being a good father. Much love, fam. I spent the entire day with my daughter. We went to the mall. We went shopping. We went to the arcade, Dave & Buster's. Spent a lot of money winning tickets, doing some cool stuff. We went bicycle riding. What else did we do? We played with our dog Nipsey here, the mascot of the show. Just did a lot of cool stuff. So very grateful for that and much love. So Dankness says, homeschooling. My daughter is also homeschooled. I don't trust the governments educating our children. Nowadays, you can only imagine what is going on. Just look on crypto Twitter, and I can't help but see, what is happening in the world. It is alarming, to say the least. And much love to Chris Minka for doing big things. helping children. Much respect. Appreciate that. You're a good mentor, family. $30,000 pump and then a $25,000 dump, says West Coast Satoshi Flip. How many of you are in that same ball game where you think once we hit 30, we're going to dump back down to 25? Let me know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And just as a reminder, to realistically hit that, $1 million target in the next 90 days, we need to be seeing Bitcoin rising approximately $11,000 per day, every day. We'll see if that actually comes into fruition. Helen, always a pleasure. It's been a long time, so it's good to see you. Shout out to Frankie V. I know your coin XRP is the top gainer for the day, up 28%, and I love to see you winning. Appreciate your support as well, Helen. Thank you. Helen is an OG here. Shout out to Lawrence Abramoff for tuning in at 4 a.m. in Perth, Western Australia. Talk about being a diehard OG. Much respect. Yeah, and part of the Orange Pill fam, we love your conversations because you have good head on your shoulders. Facts, dankness. I appreciate you sharing that out loud. Yeah, man. All great with our pump. Absolutely. Satwise Jenks, good to see you as well. Appreciate you in the building. Miss you too, Helen, and just good to see you. You can tell everyone misses you. Frankie V, good morning, family, or I should say good afternoon. Always a pleasure. Coinfather just blessed me with $10 in the super chat. Appreciate that, family. He wrote, Puerto Rico needs to see Coinfather. Can't wait until the $100,000 crypto news alerts party. I can't wait as well, fam. It's going to be lit. I promise you that. It'll be more lit than Paris right now. More lit than France. Because if you look up France, you can see the streets are on fire. It's insane. All this plus so much more. Love that. Well, thank you, Helen. You've been, like I said, an OG here at the channel. This is episode 1227. I remember you from the early days. You know what I mean? Years ago. So I appreciate you. Truly do. Coinfather, appreciate your love, fam. 420 coming up. Always. Happy 420 to the crew. Yeah, savage. Just growing herb legally while doing illegal shiz. You know, same, it says bring facts, hilarious. You're the man. So you'll never hear them say, throw a shrimp on the Barbie. 18 trillion, that's a cup of coffee soon. Exactly. We may see some multi-trillion-dollar banknotes with Biden's face on it. Wouldn't that be something? You know what I mean? Don't forget to smash that like button. It secretly likes it. Well, I appreciate that, especially if you're new to the channel, and hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. Will Smith, that like button, says Squid Hammer. Appreciate that, family. Just like ammo, I got my Satoshis while they were available. Can't find bullets easily anymore. Good Lord. Is it really that difficult? Are we running out of ammo? Is that what this world is coming to? Stable dollar, laughing my ass off. How can it be stable when they print it whenever they feel? And it's hilarious. That's why I encourage y'all to watch the interview on CNBC with Jack Mallers, because the lady Kelly is like, the dollar couldn't be stronger. The central banks are getting together to protect the dollar to make sure it's stable. So what do you mean? And then Mallers is like, I don't trust the Fed for a second. You can't tell me you believe them. So I'm with you. The Fed does nothing but lie. Yeah, the dollar is protected. It's not going to, affect anybody. Okay, printing trillions of dollars isn't going to affect the dollar. Are you kidding me? You can't make this stuff up. Get rid of the Fed. You're right, Thomas. Audit the Fed. And also audit Gary Gensler. Let's see what cryptocurrencies this guy owns. You know what I mean? Less government and more power to the people. Facts. I appreciate that dankness. Stat-wise, I almost like DeSantis for this opposing and spending on the Ukraine war, pro-Bitcoin presidential candidate. I know he wants Miami to be the U.S. crypto hub. Well, I mean, what are our options? Is there anyone else opposing CBDCs? Any other governors? They're not doing that in California, I'll tell you that much. You know what I mean? Yeah, you won't need bullets soon, says Helen. Why do you say that? Try getting 5.7 times 28. Is that like a round of ammunition? I'm not familiar with it. Try getting armor piercing 5.7 times 28. Whoa. Yeah, armor piercing bullets. I guess they're illegal, no? That's like military grade, I would think. Hopefully we'll get peace. Yeah, hopefully. I'm praying for peace as well. You just never know. You know what I mean? Mass adoption of Bitcoin will bring peace. I love that. How many of you are going to be at the Citadel in Bitcoin City? with Bukele and Max. Stacking my 40 and 357 loads like sats is sadly necessary. I feel you. Do what you got to do to protect your family sat-wise. You know what I mean? I want peace as well, but I believe it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war. Love that quote. Real talk. Much respect. Remember, everyone in this chat is a winner. Facts. Thanks for the reminder, Frankie V. I agree 100%. For you guys to be here, you're ahead of the rest of the world. That, my friend, there's no denying. You know what I mean? Dollars are dead. It does seem this way. It's only a matter of time for the US dollar disappears and they usher in these CBDCs. And if you don't have Bitcoin, you have no lifeboat, because that's ultimately what this is. You know what I mean? It's like the Titanic is sinking. If you want a lifeboat to protect you and your family, stack some sats. You know what I mean? I hope you're right, Helen, but until I can get out of Pennsylvania, you need to keep up with the Joneses. Says Satwise. Greetings, JV and fam. I appreciate you tuning in, Paul P. Much love. Zombie status. The dollar died in 1913. Word up. Henry Ford. It was dead in the 1800s already. Let's go, says OC Benji. Appreciate ya. Chris says new all-time high in 2023. I was in this camp with a very few, but this time is different. Triple top in play. I agree. I think there is a probability. Absolutely. We can see a new all-time high. I'm like 50-50 divided. You know, I think we have a 50% probability based on my 2 Satoshis that we do hit a new all-time high this year. The other side is like, I think next year, because of the halving, I feel it's inevitable next year, but it can still happen this year. Absolutely. Can go either way. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I am optimistic. Absolutely. Especially for Bitcoin, and also considering halving next year and then 2025, the year following the halving, market goes parabolic. We're going to hit a cycle high. So the question will become, will the cycle high be a conservative 100, 150,000, or will it be beyond your wildest dreams? $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 cycle top. Could you imagine that? What if $1 million actually came true? What if it didn't come true in 90 days on June 17th, but it came true by 2025? Would you be complaining? I sure as hell wouldn't. We'd be throwing a $1 million Puerto Rico party, 10x, what we do for the $100,000 party. Just saying. Name anything else that you can take with you to the grave. I'll live on the blockchain longer than on Earth. Facts. Can't take that from you. Nobody can take that from you. Nipsey loves the $1 million Bitcoin too. He absolutely does. Shout out to my dog Nipsey. Shiba Inu to 1 million. Frankie got jokes. When the banking system collapses, it'll be shockingly fast, like over 48 hours time play. That's how fast it can happen. Everyone loses faith and confidence. They all remove their money from the bank. What happens? It collapses just like FTX and Alameda Research. Same camp, same Ponzi, the same thing. It's like FTT was the digital version of the dollar. Same, still a ish coin. You know what I mean? So, damn, Shiba at $1 million. That would be like $100 trillion market cap. Sure would. Shout out to Nipsey. Nipsey appreciates the shout outs. And CoinFather, I appreciate that super chat contribution once again. You're the man. Much, much, much love. Yeah, very exciting news. Cardano launch in Africa very soon, creating a cookie cutter template for the future development, scalability, and implementation in Africa and Asia. They announced Pakistan. Well, word up. How many of you are currently bullish on Cardano? Now, you mentioned Cardano Aerostat. I'm not even familiar with that. Is that a fork of Cardano, or is this just a network upgrade? Please do enlighten me, because I have no clue what that is. Yeah. 160 in the chat. Everyone, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the best crypto news show in the game. I appreciate that, broski. Much love. We appreciate you, Jay. Thank you. Appreciate you too, Helen. Nothing but love here. You've been here since day one. Much love for the top info. You got it. I will always be here. I ain't going nowhere. Puerto Rico, here we come this year. Let's make it happen. How many of you would be ecstatic for Bitcoin to hit 100,000 this year? And how many of you will come join us to celebrate in Puerto Rico? Doesn't require a passport if you're a U.S. citizen. Obviously, if you're not a U.S. citizen, get your passport now. You can probably get it within 30 days. Order it. You know what I mean? Sooner than later, because you never know when it'll happen. Because literally, if Bitcoin hit 100,000 tomorrow, we'll schedule the celebration for the following week. We're not going to waste any time. Thank you, everyone. Miss everyone, too. You're very welcome, Helen. See you there, Coin Father. Won't miss that meetup. Heck yeah. And Frankie, never been to Puerto Rico before. How many of you never been here? Just looking forward to visiting. I'll show you guys a good time. There's so much to do here on the island. Great place to be. Gensler is a crook. Say it out loud. Love that, Helen. You got to call out these grimy criminals for what they are. Can't let them continue to get away with it, because if we acquiesce and do nothing about it, they continue to do what they do, you know what I mean? Which is basically spitting in our face. No respect for this guy. The bullet is what protects the US dollar. Exactly. What is the dollar backed by? Military and bullets. Nothing else. Not backed by gold, that's for sure. Mr. T, what's poppin', fam? Good to see you. I'm going to move to El Salvador. That's what's up. I may move there in the future as well. It's very tempting, to say the least. You know what I mean? I love what Bukele is doing to their economy. Would love to be a part of that, so I'm looking forward to visiting. How many of you here in the chat actually live in El Salvador? Let me know. Just curious if anyone here actually lives there right now. West Coast Satoshi Flip, never been, but would love to visit. That's what's up. Let's make that a reality. Frankie says $4 trillion in stimulus dollars. That helped us a lot. What a joke. Yeah, it does nothing but bail out the big institutions so they can monopolize and continue to do these shenanigans. You know what I mean? Like roll out a CBDC and things we don't want no part of. You know, who benefits the most from these bailouts? The people who own the most shares of the banks, the Warren Buffetts. Max did a post on this just the other day. It's like they're basically just, what's the word? They're laundering money to criminals. That's all they're doing. When they bail out these banks, they're just money laundering to criminals. It's not because Warren Buffett is so brilliant. It's because he is a criminal working with a criminal organization. You know what I mean? It's not because he is a genius. If he was a genius, he would have invested into Bitcoin back when he was calling it rat poison squared. You know what I mean? But he's a criminal, and he has a certain agenda to fulfill, just like Elon Musk, just like Bill Gates. Yeah, I threw Elon in the same category. Sorry, fam. One day you'll understand if you don't already. You know what I mean? StatWise says only 11% acceptance by the locals, so no chance of legalization. What? No way. It's 91, or it's like 91% acceptance, so I don't know where you got 11% from. So please do enlighten me. Let me know, because I read the newspaper in El Salvador, at least the headlines, and it said like 91% approval rating. So I want to know where you got that from. What did we do before legalization? When they know, what they know can't hurt them. Exactly. Bitcoin is backed by the people. Amen. And we the people must stand strong. And if Bitcoin is right now at 28.2 on my screen, that means on the exchanges it's probably 28.4. So let's surpass 28.5 and get to 30,000, because I would love to see a new high for the year. This is exciting, especially considering we're still in the first quarter. You know what I mean? March isn't even over yet. So first quarter will end March 31st. We'll enter the second quarter. I'm extremely bullish for the rest of this year, considering all the economic uncertainty. And got to keep in mind that Bitcoin was designed for this. Bitcoin was birthed after the 2008 financial crisis. Remember the Lehman Brothers and all these banks collapsing and the bailouts? It was released in 2009. So people are like, Bitcoin is doomed. It's going to crash along with the dollar. Everything is going to, get destroyed. No, because Bitcoin was designed for this atmosphere. Bitcoin thrives in the chaos. So the more chaos in our economy, that number go up technology will do what it does best. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Call it as you see it. You got it to cut. Nope, all traditional Catholic beliefs in El Salvador. I Googled it. I'll find the reference. Well, I appreciate that, StatWise. Interesting to note. Chris Minka says Bitcoin has about 10% usage in El Salvador, 90% approval for the president. Dankness says hit Telegram or Twitter and read it. Well, word up, which I'm glad you actually reminded us. I do have a Telegram chat. The Telegram is always listed in the show notes or in the description below the video. Also, on crypto Twitter, be sure to plug into the community, because we do have a very, very active, amazing community, as you're witnessing firsthand here in the chat. Bitcoin equals digital gold. You know it, Frankie V. Congratulations to all the hodlers of Bitcoin. Much love, much respect. You know what I mean? March Madness has been lit, and I don't even watch basketball. Word up, because the real madness is the banking sector, to say the least. But with that being shared, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis. We discussed Bitcoin hitting a new 9-month high of 28,500 as the markets flip-flop over the FOMC, which is due to be released tomorrow. I shared breaking news that there's a new Texas bill which was introduced, which is great for Bitcoin adoption. We also discussed the U.S. is exploring ways to guarantee the country's $18 trillion of bank deposits. Best of luck with that to the Fed. We know that's not happening. Don't trust them at all. No CBDC in Florida, says DeSantis. And also I shared that Tom Emmer says that the very ethos of CBDCs is everything that Bitcoin in America stands against. So shout out to Mr. Emmer. Congressman Emmer. Also, we discussed the Fed is blowing up the financial system all by design and that we can't trust the Fed, according to the Strike CEO, Jack Mallers. I agree with him 100%. We also discussed the former Coinbase CTO doubling down on his massive $1 million Bitcoin price prediction by June 17th and compares the US dollar to the collapsed World War I currency. And I also shared the latest outlook from the macro guru, Raoul Pal, who predicts that the Bitcoin price will likely reach $50,000 this year, and that it will eventually and inevitably hit six figures, followed by $250,000 per coin. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to